there, welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today we're going to do a flower on a new 10-inch wreath form. These just hit the market a few weeks ago. I let people know on social media and within like a day, they seem to be sold out. So I know a lot of you have ordered these wreath forms, so we're going to do a video with it and show you how to use it. These are a little bit deeper, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to adapt this form to use for your flower wreaths. And this pattern can be used on any other wreath frame. You don't have to use this frame. So I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. Okay, so let's use the new 10-inch wreath frame. I know a lot of you have already purchased these. I don't know if they're available right now, but I wanted to make a video showing how I use this one because it's a little different than the normal 10-inch wreath frame that I have used in the past. So we're going to do this video. We're going to make a sensor like in one of the videos I showed you before, and I will leave you the link for that in the description box below. And we are going to get started with this really pretty navy blue and cream style wreath. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do for our wreath is we need a grid in the middle of it. Now, typically I would say cut out the mesh, put it underneath, but I want it to raise just a little bit higher. So we're actually going to cut out a piece of this plastic canvas. You can get this at the Wreath shop and your local craft store in the embroidery and yarn section. And we're going to actually lay it on top of this center. So what I want to do is I want to cut out something that's a little bit bigger than normal. Actually, let's move it over here. Don't waste it, Julie. Don't want to waste that plastic canvas mesh. So I'm going to just kind of draw outside of this circle, and then I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to show you how to put it in the middle. Okay, so typically I would have told you to put it underneath here and to attach it this way, okay? But I'm going to tell you to put it over top of it just to kind of give it a little bit more height closer to that bar, because this wreath frame is deeper than the typical one. It's probably twice the size and the depthness of it, which doesn't mean that's a bad thing, but we're kind of used to doing it in another way. Let me tell you another thing you can do. If you feel like this goes too low, then just take a plastic canvas and fit it to this second part of the ring, okay? There's no certain ways you have to do it. You can be creative and work with what works for you, if that makes sense. I want you to be willing to say, well, Julie didn't make it this way. Well, maybe it's easier for you if you use this ring and made the canvas bigger and it works better for you. That's okay. I want you just to be able to adapt this the way that you need to adapt it. So I'm going to take my little zip ties, I'm going to attach them, and then we're going to cut our mesh. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to get our wood burner. I have a glass cutting board here over my rotary mat. You can get all this stuff from my Amazon shop. The link is in the description box below, as well as the wood burner. It's important to wear a mask when you do this. Don't be cutting this in a non-ventilated area, and make sure you wear a mask. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these 10 inches each, and then I'm going to fuse this with the buffalo plaid one, and I guess, or the check one, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to use the same colors I'm using. This is what I'm using, and I like the colors of navy, blue, and cream together. So you're just going to cut at least 15 of these, and then you're going to take, and we're going to fuse these together. And I have a whole playlist of fused petal techniques that I have developed. And basically what we do is we take this mesh and we put it over top of it. Now this mesh is like a half an inch wider. So I'm just going to try to even it out so that it's covering both sides equally. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and I'm going to make an edge here for us. And I'm going to do it as straight as I can. I can't really see the poly burlap underneath, so I don't know that I'm getting it too straight, like falling within the lines, but I'm going to do the best I can. So that just fused the two materials together, which is what we want. And then I'm going to cut it at 10 inches wide. So I'm going to roll this out. I should probably get a mesh holder, but I don't have one. But so let's just roll this out. And come down. All right, and then when you're done, you'll see that you have two pieces of mesh that are fused together, and that's going to be what we're going to use for a layer of our petals. Now, you're probably wondering, Julie, do you have to do this? No, you don't have to do this. I do this because I like the way that it really pronounces the design of this fabric mesh that we use. It's kind of it's called a check mesh. And you can see it's not the same length. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just makes the pattern pop for me. And so that's why I'm going to do this, and I like the look of it. You can skip this step altogether and just cut the plaid here and use it. So if you don't have the extra mesh, don't worry, it's not a must. Okay, so let's get started and let's see how we're going to attach these petals to this frame. So in other videos, I would have you attach it to the second wire, but we're going to go underneath that wire. Okay, so you've got bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, and bar 4, wire 1, wire 2, wire 3, or whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take my zip tie, and I don't know if it's going to lay really right the way that I want to. Probably not. That's okay. And I'm just going to make a basic petal technique here, okay? Finished here, cut edges on the sides, meet in the middle, gather, flip it over, and then one petal over the other. So I'm going to take my pinched edge and I'm going to put it underneath that frame, and I'm going to attach it with a zip tie. Okay. All right, so that's the first one. Now, if your petal kind of goes like this direction, what you can do to straighten it out is take another zip tie. You can also try to see if you like the pipe cleaners better, but what this will do here, it just straightens it out for me. And I do that on many wreaths. I might want to straighten it out, and sometimes it just takes straightening one out to kind of make it all go the direction you want it. So I'm going to kind of move this one over because I tend to work this way. So what I'm going to see is if 3 petals in each section will be enough. So let's just see. We might need 4, and that's okay. I can cut more mesh. Just take your pinched end, put it underneath. I like to do that there. And I'm going to take my zip tie and attach it. And let's see if we need to add another zip tie. And you could take a 3-inch zip tie as well. I don't think we really need it, so I'm just going to leave it like it is. I kind of feel like if you can get the first one started, it's pretty much generally what you need. Okay, so let's do one more. Flip it. These zip ties I got from the Wreath shop recently, and I really, really like them. I'm going to be on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I'm going to have an online craft haul that I will show you everything I got. So I hope you enjoy that. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel, and so you can see where do I get my supplies, what do I order, what's my thinking. You know what, I am going to add another one right here just to straighten it out. But these are the nice thinner size zip ties, and it just makes a difference when when things are hard for your hands to do. It just makes a difference. So I'm just going to kind of space these out. I feel like that is enough. If you want to add a 4th petal, you know what, I am going to add a 4th petal just to kind of make this a little fuller. So let's go ahead and add a 4th petal because I have the extra mesh. So you could do 3 petals or 4 petals. It's really up to you, but I'm going to add that extra petal because I have them. So, and I always like a fuller look anyway. So you're just kind of ducking your petal underneath that second wire or bar or however you want to call it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this process, and I'm going to go around the whole frame, and I'm going to put 4 sections or 4 petals per section. That will be a total of 20. If you only want to do 3, you can do that too, and then you'd only need 15. It's really up to you. But I'm going to do this, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so I went ahead and I have all 20 of my petals. Again, if you want to just use 15, use 15. But I have 20 cuts, 10 inches each, around my wreath frame. So where am I going to go next? With this frame, and this can be done on a regular 12-inch frame or 14-inch frame, you're just going to space them apart. You can always go underneath the frame, especially the 14-inch Dollar Tree frames. They're a little bit deeper as well. So you can do that. You can adapt this to any size wreath form. You just might need an extra layer of petals depending how big it is, or take away depending on how small it is. So don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to try something bigger. Just know that you'll need extra petals or less petals depending on the frame size. So let's get our fused mesh that we already took and cut. So what I want to do here is I'm going to focus on these cross brackets because they're a little bit higher than normal. And if my cross brackets weren't as high, I would probably just stay within the bracket. But since they're higher, I'm going to address them. So what I'm going to do is we're going to work on bar 3 on this form. So I'm going to grab some more of my pipe cleaners here. I'm going to just lay my pipe cleaner in between that bar there, between the cross bracket, as you can see in the frame here. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to just meet in the middle, and you could change different petals and different techniques, but this one I just wanted to keep pretty simple. We're going to fold it over, and basically I'm going to take this, and we're going to see how there's a little gap there. So I'm just going to kind of put that over top of that bracket there, and I'm going to just pull this really nice and tight. Okay, and that's going to stay. That's not going to go anywhere. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to do each of these brackets, and then we're going to come back and show you how to put them in between. Okay, so as you can see, I put them on the brackets themselves. Now, here's the thing with fused mesh. It just makes a bigger petal. It's more substantial. So what I'm going to do is I had originally planned on putting 2 in here, but because of the pattern of the petal, I really don't think I need it. If you were just using one of these, either poly burlap or the fabric mesh, I would probably still put 2 in here. So make sure to pay attention to that and be willing to add a few more if you need it, or take away if you don't. So just be flexible. So I'm just going to take my zip tie in between each of the ones that I've already established here, and I'm going to connect them. Now, I did not need 2 zip ties for the bracket petals, I want to say. Gotta think before I talk. But you might want to add it here. I don't think it really needs it. I think it's laying just nicely. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 5 or 4 more of those petals, and then we'll work on the middle of this wreath. Okay, so I've got 10 on the second ring of our flower with the fused petals. All right, so for the center of this flower, I'm going to do something a little different, something I haven't done before. I'm going to put like half fused petals and half single petals, okay? So what am I going to do and how am I going to do this? Well, I have my petal already ready to go. This is my fused petal. I'm going to take my zip tie, and where the brackets are, I'm going to go just to the right or left, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to put in my zip tie. Let me see here. I'm not showing you here. So I have my zip tie. It's about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this petal is kind of going in between that petal and this petal, okay? Now this is a little deeper, all right, than we're used to. That's okay, we can make it work. So I'm just going to pull it really good, and now that's covering that. So I have 5 more petals, so what I want to do is I've got it in between here, so what I want to do is I want to make sure I have 1, 2, and then I'll put 1 here, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, and then put 1 here. So let me show you one more time. So since I have these 2 petals here, we're going to go in between these 2 petals. Just make your petal the same way we've been doing it. And you're just going to put it down in there. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is here, there's 1, 2, so I'm going to put 1 right here. 1, 2, I'm going to put one there, 1, 2, and then one right here. And then that way you have 2 petals in between each of those 5 petals. So I'm going to finish this up and then I'm going to show you how to do the single petal. Okay, as you can see, this is looking really pretty and it's very full, even though I think that's how this frame, with the fact that it has more depth, you might find that you have a fuller wreath, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to put one single petal in between the 5 petals we put on here. So I'm just take my zip tie, and you could even thread these through and have them, you know, ready for you like this, so that you can just lay all your petals in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a single petal. This one is not fused, and I'm going to do our petal here, and I'm going to do this because we just don't need quite as much in between, because it just gets really thick with the fused petals. So we just want to have the little spots to cover here, and that's all we need. And honestly, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to have it over top of that one. All right, so they're kind of hiding a little bit, and that's what I want. So let's do another one. I'm just using this as a filler. So this wreath only needed 1 roll of the navy blue poly burlap and 1 roll of the check mesh, fabric mesh. So I've connected it, and now I'm going to take this petal and put it underneath, and I'm going to take this petal and put it underneath, because it's just a filler. Okay, it's just like a little thing to hide our coverings, and we don't want any of our zip ties to show. So I'm going to put 3 more in, and then we're going to put the center in. Okay, so I'm really pleased with this. I think it looks really pretty. I just love the look of this. Again, you can use any colors you want. I really just like the navy blue and cream. So what I did was I made a navy blue center for this. You could make a cream center for it as well. This rope comes from Hobby Lobby, and I buy it. It's in the ribbon section. Buy this when it's half off. Ribbon is half off every other week, so don't buy it for $9.99. Make sure you get it for $5. But basically, I have a tutorial that I share how to make this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave in the description box below that link. So if you don't know how to make this center, I'm going to leave that link, and I'm going to leave you the timestamp of when I start this center so that you don't have to watch the whole way through, okay? But I just kind of figured it'd be kind of monotonous, because I did put this tutorial out a few weeks ago, so I didn't want to show you the same old thing again. So you're just going to make a center, and I show you in that video. Just click on that one down below. So you're just going to run this through the plastic canvas mesh that we use, and you're just going to attach it. I really do think that the cream color would look really pretty too, but I went with the navy one today. So I just want this to set on top. This will not be close to the bottom of it, but that's okay. We don't need it to be. We just need it to sit on top of our center. And you're just going to secure it really good. Take your wires, shove them back down in here. That's all I do. I do it every time. I'm going to take this piece of felt here, and I'm going to attach it. I didn't have any navy blue felt, so we're going to have to use this today. But I think I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to just kind of put it on here like so, so that it has a place for it to hang this wreath. Just because I have so many of these, I have more petals than I normally put. So usually I would just say, hang it on the wreath frame. So today I'm going to put a little loop there, and it will hold the wreath just perfectly. So we're going to add that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add this with little zip ties around my frame. I might leave this off and wait until I can find the cream color or navy blue felt. I think I'm going to wait. But if you've made it this far, number one, thank you for watching. I enjoy making these videos for you. I appreciate your time for choosing to watch me here on my channel. I appreciate it. If you've made it this far, again, leave me your favorite emoji. What are you looking forward to? Is it spring? Do you have something special coming up that you want to make? Let me know. I love to see your comments and communicate with you. So make sure you're following me here, subscribe, Join my Wreath Creators and More group on Facebook. And until next time, we'll see you on Julie's Wreath Boutique.